Hello, everyone, and good day. Welcome to your favorite program, Need to Know series by TAD. My name is Emmanuel Babatunde Adebola, and today is a very wonderful and unique day. It's the 22nd of March, 2023. It's also nice to know that it's the second day of spring. We just came out of winter in North America, in Canada to be precise. Today we have a very special guest, a lady who I have a lot of admiration and respect for, because like me, she's an immigrant in the country of Canada where we both live, but she is obviously hitting the ground running, firing on all cylinders, and doing a very marvelous job at that. She's a native of Nigeria. We'll be getting to know her in more detail. Her name is Adejisola Atiba, and she has a nickname of Lady ABHA, ABHA. And without wasting more time, we'd like to introduce her. So you're welcome to this program. How are you today?
Thank you very much. I am blessed and I'm highly favored. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And maybe it's like to start by saying happy birthday to you, because today is your birthday, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
How does it feel to be a year older or younger, as ladies like to think?
Well, I always see things differently. I am a year older and I'm happy and I'm embracing it. Yeah. And a lot of people did not know it was my birthday today because everything I posted was all about being grateful and thankful. So that is how it feels to be a year older. I'm grateful, I'm thankful for where God has brought me from, where I am today, and where He's gonna take me.
Beautiful. So let's start from the very beginning. What do you remember about your upbringing, and can you take us through, because it's my understanding that you are from a royal family, isn't that? Can you tell us about that?
Where do I begin? Well, yes, my father is a prince. Okay. And some of the stories my father told me, seriously, I think it will be for another episode. All right. My father is the only son of our mother. And because she wanted to see our grandchildren, she married 6 women at the same time for my father. Wow. Unfortunately for her, none of them had children before she passed. Wow. So according to my father, he actually married 18 wives.
Jeez Louise.
And that also includes concubines, just so you know. Wow. It was one thing I do remember very much about my father is the fact that he's always very hardworking. It made me feel very special, even though he had many children. I felt loved. I felt special. And it was, it was always giving me positive affirmation that there's nothing I cannot do. And my mom is very, very younger, much younger than my father, much younger than my father. My mom, her story was that of, because I'm a girl, she didn't go to school, but she wanted all our children to go to school. So I have 2 parents that were always celebrating me and prodding me on to be the very best I can be. Wow,
wow. So you were the firstborn of the union, I imagine, but
not of my mom. Of my mom.
Okay, of your mom, of the mom. Wow, that's just a generation away, and I can imagine, because when I hear stories of 18 wives, I think of many years ago, because I also, believe it or not, also emerged from a royal family, but was my great-grandfather, if I'm not mistaken, that had many wives, Adebola.
I don't know if we can call it many years ago. My father died, well, maybe many years ago. My father died about 30 years ago. Oh, wow. He was 85.
Okay, wow.
So I don't know if it was many years ago, but I feel it's very recent. I mean, that was my father, right?
Yes. Wow. All right. And so at some point, you decided you were coming to a new territory. what motivated you to, as Nigerians will say, japa from the country? Was it, I imagine you left before the japa movement, or can you just tell us a bit about how you came about that decision and how the journey has been for you?
And I was going to say that japa is something very recent.
Yes.
Growing up, I really never thought I would leave my country.
Okay.
Even though I had a lot of ups and downs, especially when I lost my dad. But I always look around me and I say, you know what, there are a lot of people doing great things, making it in my country. I'm going to be one of them. And I'm happy to say that I was one of them before I left. I did not leave because things were difficult. I was working in the bank, and it was very, very good pay. Yeah, it wasn't about the country, but I met someone.
Okay.
I met someone, and the idea of having long distance relationship was not something I considered because, you know, Nigeria, I work in the bank, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of, handsome young men moving around.
Yes.
And when you tell them you have somebody 30,000 miles away, they're just gonna, think you're joking, right? So it was a personal decision to, move.
Wow. Yours is a unique story. So love is the reason you moved out of love. That must be very romantic. And your husband must feel like a very lucky man, privileged man to have you come all the way to join him here in Canada. And from the little I know about you, you literally hit the ground running, because I'm aware that you lead a number of organizations, but I also understand that it didn't all start that way. You just want to walk us through your journey, especially bearing in mind that there are many people in different parts of the world who are looking at the greener pasture, but probably don't understand that things are not always as rosy. Maybe you need to make some sacrifice, and maybe we can learn from your own story. So please tell us.
Thank you so much. That's a loaded question. Yes, so I came into Canada about a little over 18 years ago.
Okay.
And because, in Nigeria, we look at places like this as God's own country, right? And so I felt, with my bachelor's degree, my years of banking experience, I'm going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
Yes.
I thought everybody was waiting for me. And so when I came, I realized that nobody was waiting for me. And it was really difficult. Everyone that I met said, you can't get a job in the bank. They said there are only two options: one, to be a personal support worker, or be on the system. Yeah. And you and I know that we don't have the system in Nigeria, and it wasn't something that was comfortable for me. And I get it that some people may need it to settle in, but not necessarily sleep and live and breathe it.
Yeah.
Because really, it doesn't have any value. It just reduces the essence of someone, especially when you don't need it. The system was created for people that absolutely needed it, not people like me.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't get anything. And then I was introduced to volunteering.
All right.
So I started teaching English as a second language at Brampton Multicultural Center. And one of those days I was taken to the bank to open an account. And I'm happy to say that the bank I was taken to was Royal Bank of Canada, RBC.
Okay.
And the account manager that was opening it, while he was making conversation, it was like, oh, you used to work in the bank. Why are you not working in the bank here? When you look at someone and you shake your head, where do I even start with this man? Because that is me having sent maybe like 100, job applications out, and I didn't even get one response back. Wow. And so when he asked, I said, something just said, just answer him. So, that really anyway, I answered him and I said, it wasn't for lack of not looking.
Yep.
And he said, if you don't mind, there's somebody that just got a job here. Would you like me to introduce you to her? I'm like, of course I would. So what am I saying there? Even though we may be frustrated, we don't know when help will come.
Yes.
And so we shouldn't really take our frustration on the person that may be able to help us. Because that man actually gave me the life straw that I needed. Wow. It was, the meeting was ordained, I would say. And it was really interesting when he called the person's name is Modupe. She's my friend for life.
Wow.
Also a Nigerian for that matter. We have heard that lightning does not strike twice. Lightning struck twice with me and Modupe, because she told me exactly what she did and I did the exact same thing. Wow. And that was the fact that she went to an adult learning centers. I'm so sorry I'm using clinics. For some reason, I've not been feeling too good today.
You just said that the winter, we just moved to spring, so it's all good.
Yeah, so she told me exactly what she did. She went to an adult learning center. It was a different, it was the Catholic school, adult school. And the program was sponsored by the government. It was a 6 months program, full time. It's like you're going to school. I remember I paid, I think it was $15 or $30 way back then. And I did English test, and I was admitted into the school, the adult school, and the focus was really math and English. And they were trying to teach me English. And
you're a teacher of English already.
It got to a time the teacher actually told me, Adejisola, you are a native speaker. Please do not answer any questions anymore in this class. I thought she wanted to teach me English, and I showed her that I was brought up in English language. Yes. Anyway, the first 3 months was in school, and the second 3 months was a co-op.
Okay.
So during that time, they taught us how to make our own portfolio. In making our portfolio, we talk about where we've worked, how long we've worked, our certification, pictures of our work, pictures, it was very, very, it was a good thing. And they taught us about the workplace culture of Canada, what to take to work, what not to take to work, how to do small conversation, water cooler conversation, all those things that were very, very different from where we're coming from. Yeah. I made friends for life from there. And I was blessed to actually I got interviewed by RBC, and I was hired by RBC as a co-op student.
Oh, wow. Okay. What a coincidence.
Yes, as a co-op student.
Okay.
And after the co-op, I was hired as, they called them teller then, I think it was teller or client service representative. I was hired as a CSR. And on a part-time basis. So that was how I started. But because it was a part-time, they only call me when they need me. It wasn't full-time. Okay. I had to look for something else to do. Yeah. And what I was doing, I worked with UPS. Okay. And I was loading and unloading trailers.
Your muscles must be very strong, I guess.
I don't even know, but I would say I was younger. Okay. I'm the first child. I'd lost my dad a long time ago while I was in the bank back home. I was taking care of all my younger ones. And so I couldn't say I'm now in abroad and I can't do it. Yes. So believe you me, as I'm handing the money, I'm sending it home. And I just want to make people laugh right now. My first T4 in this country was $8,000. Wow. Yes. Wow.
Just for the benefit of those who know, T4 is your annual income, right?
Yes, my annual income was 8,000. That was the first year. Wow. And that was, yes, that was 2006. That was my first annual income, $8,000.
Wow. Wow, that's remarkable. Some of the things you've said actually relate. So for instance, the need to understand the Canadian work culture is something that I struggled with because coming to Canada, I had experience. I worked as an international consultant for 12 years plus, and I felt I related with people from different backgrounds, but I had to learn the hard way that when you come to a new country, you just need to submit yourself and learn the process, their ways of working. And so I relate with that of the need to actually learn. And I think that's something anybody looking to go to a different country needs to recognize. Nobody doubts your technical capabilities, but there are social norms that are peculiar. In fact, somebody told me as recent as late last year that the greatest challenge in Canada is not the weather, but we were just talking about winter moving into spring. It's not the road network. Rather, it is the social cues that everybody who's local knows, but which the person who's coming in may not know. And so if you're like me, who's brash, aggressive, if you will, you may miss out. So for instance, Canadians find it very difficult to say no. They're very polite. And because they are so polite, someone like me would typically, in the beginning, would assume that when I talk and the other person is quiet, it meant I had gained the other person's consent. But that was not the case. That was just because that person was just trying to play along. Unless you hear a yes, it is a no. And that's one of the things that I always tell people who come to this country. Don't take them for granted. They're nice, but learn to understand how they work. But back to your story. So you evolve from $8,000 to uncountable dollars now, I guess, over this period of time, and it's a wonderful story. It's my understanding that you are now a community manager in the same institution, right, or organization, right?
Yes, yes, and that took some growing into. And to what you said, understanding the culture is super, super important.
Yeah.
There's an adage we say in our country. We always say that when you get to Rome's, you have to, learn what the Romans do and do what the Romans do.
Yes.
And I'm gonna just put a caveat to that to say, yes, it's good to understand the Romans, but you got to balance it because we're coming with so much knowledge, so much experience.
Yes.
And the fact that we're coming from another country, coming here actually already gives us an upper hand. But we will be able to thrive, we'll be able to land and thrive in Canada or any other country if we take the time to understand what the country is about.
Yeah.
So I didn't banking is is the same worldwide. But the point is when I came here, they have a plethora of products and services that we do not do back home.
Mm.
So and I now realize it got to a certain stage in my life where I realized why they did not call me, because when I came, I was literally applying for a manager's role. And I was doing it because I didn't really have any mentor. Everybody I met said I was not going to get a job because that's all they know.
Yes.
And we don't have organizations that could mentor or guide or, hold your hands way back then. Right now, people have access employment, they have Trike. I didn't even know we had anything like that because your network matters, right? It's what they know that they will provide you with.
Yes.
And there was no African organizations like we have Council of Nigerian Professionals now. No, there was nothing at all to support. I didn't know of any organization until we actually started Council of Nigerian Professionals 5 years ago. 5 years ago, right? And so when I started as a teller, I started looking around because I'm very inquisitive. I was still very young at art. So I was looking around to say, okay, let's see, what kind of roles do they have? I had to borrow my self brain that, okay, I don't like where I am. This is not who I am. I'm much more than this.
Yes.
What can I do, right? I already have my bachelor's. What can I do? And so I was looking around and I saw this man in this office. He was the only one that had a colored printer back then in his office. And so I walked up to him and I said, what do you do? And he told me he's a financial planner. I didn't understand what he said. Seriously.
Yes.
Until I became a financial planner, I did not understand what he told me. And that was like 7 years later. Yeah. And I asked him, how do I become a financial planner? And he told me. And so to be candid, that would have been my first mentor. Even though he didn't know it, he just told me, these are the courses you need to do. And I just went on all cylinder. I looked for the courses and I had my designation as a teller.
Wow.
Because I have the background, right? I did banking and finance back home. And so doing all those professional qualification was a no-brainer. And another thing I realized in Canada is that seriously, even until now, they've never asked me for my certifications. All they've ever asked are those professional qualifications.
Okay, wow, okay.
So if you're working in the bank, most of the time, depending on where you are, they need those professional qualifications. So I did the various courses and I moved from being a teller to what we call an account manager. An account manager is somebody that opens account for clients, that talks to them about basic credits, basic investment, kind of bring them in, mostly young people or newcomer coming into the system.
Okay.
And then I moved from there because I already have the qualification. I was an account manager. I was a teller for 3 years and account manager for 3 years. I moved to senior account manager. I spent, I think, about 2.5 years in that. And then I moved to financial planner.
Okay.
And I was about 4.5 years in financial planning. In financial planning, I really, really loved that role. It was very futuristic.
I see.
It was like all encompassing. It looks at the different sides of the balance sheet, whether it's liability or assets, credit and debit. It talks about not just today, but actually having a futuristic look in terms of your goal. What do you want to achieve? Do you have children that you want to send to school? When do you plan to retire? Do you want to buy a home? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to buy boats? It just talks about various ways of meeting your goals, and they're able to actually show you if all the money you're saving, all the investments you have will actually achieve your goals. And not only that, it talked about mitigating your risk. What do you have in terms of, even though we don't specifically talk to them, but we do what we call a general insurance review, and we encourage them to actually talk to their insurance people. And it also weave into that estate planning.
I see.
So it's a very robust package and a robust, and really that gave me a lot of knowledge.
I see.
How to deal with people, how to help people to move from point A to point B, knowing what they need to know. The financial planner role is to actually retain the business and manage the business and grow the business. And this is all through discovery. You got to know the client to be able to advise them, and depending on what they need to, what they're planning for, you guide them. So that was the best role I had. And it was at that point in time that I realized that, yes, I love being a salesperson, because financial planning is still regarded as a sales role.
It is, definitely.
I realized that.
To everybody, is that a service that you afford every client in the bank, or is it for a targeted pool of high net worth of clients?
We call them they are I believe iNetwork.
Okay.
That's not the word. If the word comes to me, I will talk to it. But people with a certain level of income and asset, because an account manager is there to build you up.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
A senior account manager does, a little bit more. And when you get to a certain level, you are actually moved to a financial planner, and there's no additional cost to it. You just need to have the right income or the right asset. And let me give you an example of somebody that will be financially planned, like maybe a medical doctor.
Yes.
A lawyer, a professional engineer, that has the cash flow, because at times we don't know what we have until we know, right? So the financial planner will make you see the money you don't even see that you have, because there's so many strategies they can engage in to be able to help you reach your goals.
Okay, that sounds very interesting.
Oh, it is very, very interesting. So that was what I did, and it was at that point that I took stock of my life, and I'm like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So I know what do you like. You know, when I mentor people, I talk about 3 types of skill sets.
Okay.
One is the hard skills.
Yes.
Okay. And the hard skills are all the certificates, really.
Yes.
We've been able to gain. The hard skills says that this is a person you can rely on. This is somebody that has gone through a project. I tell people going to school is a project. The fact that you start it and you finish it,
that's true.
It is a project. So that's the hard skills, all the certificates, all, everything that we got. And then the soft skills come along the way. You know, when we're in school, we're meeting people, maybe we're doing part-time jobs, maybe we're taking on some leadership roles, we're learning. Those are soft skills. And then when we actually get into the work, into the job market, we start from somewhere and we keep embellishing those soft skills. And so the third part is the transferable skills. Now, are you an accountant? What are the skills that you gain from working as an accountant? Where can you transfer it in case you're not able to work as an accountant? What else an accountant can work in a bank?
Yes.
An accountant can be a consultant. So those are the 3 skills. And so I talked to myself and said, what do I really want to do? And I realized that I love to coach. I love to inspire.
Yeah.
I love to inspire. I want to see people like me do well. And that doesn't mean I don't want to see anybody else do well. I want everybody else do well, but I want my people to be able to land and thrive in Canada, because I know that, you and I know that there's some hindrances here and there. Maybe for lack of knowledge, maybe for lack of cultural competence, maybe it could be for any reason. So I realized I want to be a coach. And I was kind of doing that before leaving Nigeria.
Oh, I see.
I realized that was what I wanted to do. And this was me getting a little bit comfortable in my skin. It wasn't something that happened overnight.
Okay.
Like I said, I was not a financial planner until about 7 years into my career. And so I started the journey to being a leader. And I'm very happy that my leaders saw that in me, and they supported me. And so I started my role as a branch manager. And from being a branch manager, I was able to move into a senior manager role where I managed the associates that actually support financial planners. And from that role, I moved into a community manager intern role, which is what I am doing right now. But during that process was when I decided, Adejisola, you know what you went through settling into Canada. What can you do to help somebody else coming in, so that what took you 17 years does not take them 17 years? In my living room, I called some close friends and I said, this is what I'm thinking about. What do you think? Do we have something like this? And they said, we do not have anything like this. And this is long overdue. And that was how Council of Nigerian Professionals was started in 2018.
Wow.
And the idea was, how can we hold somebody else's hand? How can our children see role models in the community? How can we support small businesses? How can we network within ourselves to see who is where? Because one of the things that I realized is that your network is actually your net worth.
Yes, it is.
The more people you know, the more they can refer you to jobs, the more they can support you, the more they can mentor you. And so that was how we started. And so CNP has been in the business of changing lives since 2018.
Wow. Center for Nigerian Professionals.
Council of Nigerian Professionals. Council of Nigerian Professionals. And also in that vein, one of the things that, I'm a praying woman. I'm not saying that I'm any unique or whatever, but I believe in the power of God. And I'm happy to say that God has given me the grace to understand my purpose and vision in life.
Yep, that's very important.
And my purpose and vision in life is to coach others, inspire others, motivate others, support others to be better than me. And that is what I do at work as a community manager. That is
Wow.
what I do in the community.
Hmm.
That is what I do with my family. That is what I do with my extended family. That
Wow.
is who I am. If I'm not doing any of those things, then I'm not in my natural habitat.
Hmm. You know what I tell people is that the best way to grow wealth or to make money is to do what you love. And that's exactly what you say. So for instance, I look at soccer. I look at Ronaldo and Messi. They are having fun on the pitch and the world is paying them. I look at Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James in basketball. They're doing what they love and they're getting paid for it. And so that's why your story is also compelling, because it also confirms that theory that if you find what you love and do what you love and give yourself to it, especially having discovered that's your God-given capacity, and you give everything to it, you literally rise to the top. And it's no surprise that you don't have to compromise. You enjoy what you do. For you, going to work is not stress, it's not a struggle, it's something that you welcome and the opportunities are there. And not only are you doing it within the confines of the RBC where you work still as a community manager, you also started your own organization, Council of Nigerian Professionals, which I know from little I've heard about it, that it's a wonderful opportunity platform on which many Nigerians are thriving. I'm also aware that you had some relationship with the African Caribbean. Is that something that you want to talk about today?
Absolutely, absolutely. So about 7 years ago, I moved into Milton.
Something must have happened 7 years ago. Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of 7-7, right? 7 years ago, I moved into Milton. It's in the Halton region of Ontario.
Yes.
It comprises of Milton, Oakville, Burlington, Halton Hills. And 2 years living in, I realized that because, in Canada, we celebrate what we call Black History Month. This is not something we celebrate back in Nigeria, but I've come to know about it and I've come to, embrace it because it's part of our history. The thing about the African history is that there are bits and pieces that are left out depending on who is telling it.
Yes.
And so I've decided to embrace that history. And so moving into a new town, I realized that it wasn't something that was celebrated. And so I met the new MP that came in at that time. And I was talking to him. I said, I noticed that this is not done. And he said, now that we're talking about it, let's do it. And he said he was going to talk to the mayor, but fortunately for me, the very next Monday, that was a weekend, the very next Monday, there was a proclamation for coldest night of the year. And I was a volunteer there. So, and the proclamation was in the town hall. So I was there and I took the opportunity to talk to the mayor. And the mayor, that was the first time I met the mayor, Mayor John Krantz. And I told him about my conversation with the MP, and it was like, absolutely. It took my hand and took me to his one of his assistants and said, this person will liaise with you so that we can schedule a time. And right there and then, we were able to schedule a time. And we let people know, and believe you me, on the day off, we had 75 people.
Wow, for a first time event.
Yes, they said they've never seen this number of people come for a proclamation before. It was because it matters to us.
Yes.
And the MP Adam Vancouver, he actually had a small, we used his office to do a small reception. We got people to bring in different foods from different part of Africa and Caribbean. And people were so happy.
Wow.
It was such a fantastic event. And that was in 2020.
Wow. So it's called the African Caribbean
Council of Halton.
Council of Halton.
Yes.
And you birthed it here in Milton. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yes. And so the first year we did it, and lo and behold, in March, that was when COVID came.
Oh, okay.
And before we say Jack Robinson, everybody was kind of hibernating at home because we were on lockdown.
Yes.
And before we say Jack Robinson, George Floyd happened. Yes. And that was how African Caribbean Council of Halton was actually birthed, because when we did the proclamation, the Black History Month proclamation, there was no organization then. It was just by words of mouth that, oh, we're going to do this, let's come together. And
Okay.
so we had ACCH, and we invited the leadership of all the region to come and talk about, you know what, whether we like it or not, this is an issue that affects our community. We need you to come and tell us how you're gonna change the narrative around this.
Yeah.
And I have a leader that said, if you're saying something and nothing is happening, it's because you're not speaking loud enough. You know, so I realized that we need to continue to say our bit so that eventually there will be a king that will remember Joseph, right? And things will happen. And so that's the whole idea of ACCH. We're advocating to strengthen our community, to support our youth, and to continue to ensure that our culture is being celebrated. I'm happy to say that during the Black History Month, we were in schools talking about the power of our names and the origin of the drumming that we do in Africa.
I see, that's interesting. I'm also aware that you teach the Yoruba language occasionally, right? I mean, you have a lot of things to do, you have pockets of things that you do here and there.
Yes, I do. You know, I was talking about the fact that I like to support my community. So the CMP, I support Nigerians, and I'm happy to say that it's not just for Nigerians, it's for Africans. We have Africans supporting it. We're actually going to be changing to CAP, which is Council of African Professionals, slowly but surely. And of course, the ACCH allows me not only to support African, but Caribbeans, our brothers and sisters in Caribbeans. And apart from those, because I always say that if I want to remain a Nigerian, I will stay in Nigeria and not leave Nigeria. If I want to remain an African, I will stay in Africa and not leave Africa. And so because I've left Africa, je suis Canadian. I'm now a Canadian. And so I need to support the entire Canadian ecosystem.
Just don't say more French, because you will lose me if you continue in that French.
No, I always use it to brag a little. I only understand a little bit of French.
I always found my French teachers were very, very strict. I don't know if you have the same experience, because my kids are also learning French. And for whatever reason, French teachers are usually very strict. In fact, even today, I sent a mail to the principal of my kids' school, and I told him that I had a discussion with my children over the March break. And I told them that given the challenges you have with French, why don't you advocate for a French club? A place where you can come together with immigrants, people who can't speak French that much, and you can get a tutor, somebody that can help you. And I'm hoping it makes some progress, because French is a wonderful language, and if only those who teach it can be more friendly, for lack of a better word, I think many more people like me would be interested in. So it's good to hear you speak that language. And thanks for the effort you're making, collaborating with people and doing all these things. One question I have, just out of curiosity, because it's nice to hear you say all what you're doing, and I don't have any doubt that you've been able to do it, but I think we need to give some credit to that man who you left Nigeria to come and visit, or not visit, to come and live with, because without his support, without his commitment, without, I'm not sure that you will be able to fly like this, because not every man, you probably know that, not every man can stand a woman who is focused, dynamic, and is evolving. So tell us a bit about your husband, how your relationship is, and how in his own way he's helping you to become who you are today.
So before I say that, I'm going to finish my thought process.
Oh, please.
I was talking about supporting CMP, supporting ACCH, but I also support TRIEC and Access Employment.
Okay, good.
And I also support a place called Night's Table. This is a charitable organization in Brampton that provides food for people in need, hot meal 365 days a year. So we go there to volunteer. And Coldest Night of the Year is another place that I support, because I'm a Canadian. So it's important to again embrace the entire ecosystem and not just stay in your own silo.
That's right.
Yeah. And I also want to put it out there that I like to introduce myself as an African.
All right.
Foremost. And because I am an African. but my country of birth is Nigeria.
Yes.
Remember when African continent was divvied up, it wasn't
Yeah.
something that
I
that
heard
we
it
did
was at
ourselves.
lunch or dinner or some tea party. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So we didn't do it. And so I embrace all Africans, and I really hope that Africans will embrace themselves. And so talking about my husband, like you said, today is my birthday. And to be candid, when I sit back and I look at what I've done, like my father is my number one fan, just so you know.
Yes.
Number one fan, I said it before. It was the thought process that you can be whatever you want to be. And
All
I'm
right.
happy that my husband is somebody that has that mentality of my husband, my father.
Yeah.
Because whether we like it or not, since I came into Canada with a bachelor's in banking and finance,
Okay.
with some professional qualification. But today, I have another bachelor's in business administration with a minor in human resources. I did another 4 year in Canada because after I finished my financial planning designation and I wanted to do my master's, I couldn't get my transcript from home.
Oh, wow.
So instead of blaming the entire world for my woes, I decided to take control of what I can control. And so I went back to school.
For 4 years.
4 years.
Wow.
And I came out with honors.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And that was what I used to do my executive MBA. So in his house, in our house with my husband, I've added more feathers to my wing, as you will call it. And so when I thank God for where I am, I continue to thank God for who he is.
Yeah.
Because without his, some men are quiet and all that. Anybody that sees my husband will say, oh, he's a quiet one.
Okay.
But it is very, very supportive. And I'm really happy that I found him and he found me.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm sure the union is blessed with children.
Yes.
Well.
Yes.
Wow. That's beautiful. One thing I know from, in little interaction is that you speak a lot of proverbs, African proverbs. And I guess because this is an English medium, we'll probably need to find another edition because I'm surprised you've spoken this long without bringing up one of your
I consciously made an effort to make sure I don't interject with proverb, but you did ask that I teach Yoruba. So in Council of Nigerian Professionals, I'm happy to let you know that one of the languages we teach is actually French.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We have 4 languages right now. And to everybody listening to this program, if you are a teacher and would like to teach any language, we would love to have a conversation with you. So when we started the language classes, we actually started with French because it is the second language of Canada.
It is, yes.
Yoruba has been consistent. We've been doing it for 2 years now. Over 2 years, this will be the 3rd year. We started with Igbo language.
Oh,
but
wow.
Our teacher couldn't go on, so we're looking for teacher for Igbo. So right now we're doing Edo. So we have Yoruba language, we have Edo, we have French, and then the 4th language we teach is Mandarin.
Mandarin, oh wow, that's good.
And the reason we teach Mandarin is because whether we like it or not, everybody is doing business with China.
Yes.
And I feel that is the business language. I feel it's important we understand people we're doing business with. And we've been doing it for 3 years. Mandarin, French, and Yoruba have been very, very consistent. Edo is something that is very new. But these languages, we're actually starting them this Saturday. It's always for 3 months at a stretch. It's only 30 minutes.
This Saturday, 25th of March, 2020.
Yes, 30 minutes for 3 months. Every Saturday in the morning for 3 months. So if you want to come, and believe you me, we've had students say, because of CMP French class, they've been able to improve their French.
That's good. I'm telling my children about it because, I was just talking about the French club. If they can participate in that, even if I can steal some classes and just listen in, I wouldn't mind.
Believe you me, I'm in all the classes and I take the Yoruba class.
I see. So you can speak some Mandarin, is that? Are you able to converse in Mandarin then?
A little bit. If I was gonna say good morning to you, it is Xiao Shang Hao.
What? Say it again. Xiao what?
Xiao Shang Hao. That
Wow.
is good morning. If I want to say how are you, how are you doing? Ni hao ma.
I don't know. I think they love to sing in that language. That's because what you're talking about sounds like you're singing. Ni hao ah. The
And if
only
I
thing
want to
don't-
say thank you, it's xie xie.
Yes, yeah. That one is easy.
If I want to say you're amazing, Thai Bangla.
Thai Bangla. You see, the ones that are okay, Thai Bangla. No, but you pronounce it with an accent, Thai Bangla.
Yeah, because the person teaching us is actually from China. And
Perfect.
yes.
Perfect.
Yes. So she
Perfect.
teaches us, we look at her mouth when she's pronouncing the words and we're able to. Same thing with the French. The person teaching us French is a French African from Cameroon. And that's why I said we support, the entire African countries. But if anybody comes from any other part of the world, they are welcome. Remember, when we're talking about inclusion, we cannot exclude anybody.
Maybe you want to talk about I understand you're collaborating with some people on the Power of Inclusion project. Maybe is that under the auspices of Council of Nigerian Professionals, or is that something you're doing on a different platform?
So Council of Nigerian Professionals has a lot of programs that we run. And to understand or to know more about Council of Nigerian Professionals, I will encourage people go to cnpngo.ca under our events. But we do have two flagship events.
All right.
One is the Black History Month events that we do. During the Black History Month event, we actually encourage our students to write essays. And when they write the essay, we celebrate them because they've taken the time to write it. We celebrate them. We give them a plaque to celebrate them. We give them bursaries, and wherever we do it, the mayor would always give them a certificate.
Wow. Okay.
So these are things that they can actually put on their resume.
Yes, definitely.
Right? Because we know the way the system works. So these are ways we continue to support our youth to be the best they can be. And this time around, we did not do it in February. We're actually having it in April 29th.
Okay, wow.
It's going to be an in-person, and I'm happy to say that our keynote speaker is an Ontario Supreme Court Justice.
All right.
His background is Ghanaian.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yes, and our other guest speakers, one is from the Caribbean and the other one is from Cameroon.
Wow, okay, that's a truly Pan-African initiative.
Absolutely, and the mayor will be coming to present certificates to our children. It's a free event, but registration is required. Again, all these details can be seen on cnpngo.ca. Now, the second flagship event is what we call the Power of Inclusion.
Okay.
The Power of Inclusion, we've been doing it. This is going to be the third year.
I see.
The first year, the theme was Power of Inclusion. What is the fuss about? And the second year, Power of Inclusion, Strength in a Diversity. The idea behind Power of Inclusion is to bring people into our space, one, to see the excellence that we can do, to see the professionals in us, to see that by not supporting us to settle and be the best we can be, everyone is losing. So we're bringing people into our space to understand us and for us to understand them and have a conversation to see how we can take inclusion from point A to point B. All right. We know that Canada is a diversified country. Canada has perfected the art of diversity, but we still need to do more when it comes to inclusion. And the people that are affected more are the people that need to speak about it. Again, it's all about taking that baby step, one step at a time, to ensure that everyone is included in all arms of the government, in all industries, so that we can make Canada the best they can be.
Okay, sounds good. I see you're really fired up and it's like there's no end to your ideas and And you're not just dreaming, you're actually making these things practical. And I'm very happy. I imagine that many ladies or even men who come into Canada or even to North America would watch this and be inspired that they can do this and even more. And so as you mark another birthday, it's just amazing that you can actually take a stock and look at how far God has brought you. And of course, I know you're not relenting. You have bigger and better plans for the future. And all we can do here is wish you well. I have no doubt that you're very clear, especially because, like you said, you found what it is that you were created for. And that's a gift. That's a gift that many people can't say the same. People who are even wealthy as by human standards, but thank God that you have found it, and we wish you well. So any last words as we wrap this up?
Last words. I just want to quickly add that, yes, it is true that CMP, ACCH were something that I started, but it wasn't me. It wasn't just me. You know, in my place, they say, no one person can say we're here.
Yeah.
So I just want to pay some homage to some people. For African Caribbean Council of Halton, we had a lot of people come in and out, but the board of directors, Edosa Adams Idode, Kristen McIntosh, Mr. Abe Salami, Evangeline Chima, and a few others joined in making this happen. With the Council of Nigerian Professionals, the founding members, David Odige, Dr. Oye, Abioye, Nena, Dr. Ebere Morgan, Patience Iyase, you know, a lot more. I'm trying to think. Teniola, Kemi Abiola, Femi, you know, a lot of people were founding members and they all had a lot of input to make it where it is today. So I just want to say shout out to them. What you have done is still running. I know you know. And I'm happy to say that we continue to impact lives. And today we have a lot of volunteers, and you're even one of our volunteers, right?
Yes,
See,
I am.
you're one of our volunteers. And shout out to all the volunteers. I can't mention all the names, but thank you so much for what you do, because you know, when we put an event together and it is successful, it's because of the people behind it. Right? I want to, you know, remember my brother Efwange Kumba, Claire, Ivory Lee, you know, all the teachers for language school, the coding classes, OVA, you know, people that have come in to share their insight. Pastor Bola Osage, Pastor Bola Banjo, you know, so many people, Pastor Olumide Ademidu, Pastor Mrs. Aramide Ademidu, you know, amazing, amazing people that have actually impacted. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for what you did, because without you, we cannot touch lives. Without you, we cannot change lives. And collaboration helps a lot. So thank you so much again to everybody coming into Canada. Check us out. We're here to help. We do mentoring. We do a lot that I cannot say because it's a lot. Last year alone, we did over 85 events. So check us out, and I'm sure there's something for you.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this session. Usually I get to talk a lot in these sessions, but your life is so rich that there was no need to to fill in the gap. So thank you very much. We wish you well.
If I can add one more thing, I know you know I'm an author.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So
that's my book.
Authenticity. How my why me moments shaped my life. Oh wow, okay. Oh wow, that's beautiful. So where can we get this? Amazon or where?
Amazon.
Amazon. Okay. Okay. That's beautiful. Thanks. It was good that you remember that, because that's also something to be proud of. So you have I'm sure that won't be your last book. That's probably just one of the early ones. Given what I've been trying to remember the name of the lady. I watched a documentary on her during the February Black History Month. She was
Honorable Jane Augustine.
Honorable Jane Augustine. Yes. So I see your story evolving like hers. You know, it already is, and it's only a matter of time. Okay, that's her. Okay, that's powerful. Oh, that's her. Okay. So this is one of your magazines, right? For the
yes.
For
yes.
the Power of Inclusion program.
Yes.
What year is this?
Sorry?
What year was this?
This was last year.
Last year. Okay, great. Great, beautiful. All
Yeah.
right. So thank you for indulging us. We are grateful. Thank you for sharing your birthday with us. It's a special day, and we can only wish you well. Happy birthday and many, many happy returns of the. Maybe we'll just sing the song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lady ABBA. Even though we don't know what ABBA means, happy birthday to you. On behalf of everyone, we wish you many, many happy returns of the day, long life and prosperity. Hip, 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 hooray! Hip, 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 hooray! God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. God bless.
God bless.